Welcome back to Dragon Quest II. In the previous episode, I climbed the Tower of the Moon, getting the Moon Fragment, which I used to open the way to the Sea Cave. I defeated a couple of evil clowns there who were guarding the Eye of Malroth. I then returned to Hamlin, defeating a couple of locked Ozworgs in a cell, finding the Water Crest there. I then used the Eye of Malroth to open up the cave to Rhone, where I found the Life Crest. Having acquired all 5 crests, I convened with Rubiss in an isolated island monolith, getting the Charm of Rubiss. Getting this charm, along with much legendary equipment, I will go to Rhone to face Hargon and end his ambitions. So let's get to it. I grind for a bit near the entrance to the cave to Rhone. R4 reaches level 20, learning the increased spell, which boosts the party's defense stats. Then Plataeu reaches level 17, learning the outside spell. And once I reach 25,000 gold, I buy the Falcon Sword for Arfo. Although this weapon is actually weaker than the Iron Spear, it allows its wielder to attack twice. Now that I am fully kitted, I open the secret way to the cave and climb all the way to the 4th floor, going northeast, climbing to the 6th floor, weaving around the pitfalls to climb up to the 7th floor. This floor is a confusing maze where choosing the wrong way will set the party back a while. I go to the east, then north, west, north again, then east, going around the center wall, taking the north path on the next intersection, then west on the following intersection. Once I reach the very north, I go all the way east, finding the exit to the other side of this cave. I arrive at the Rhone Plateau. This snowy region has many new enemies, including Cyclopses, a strong enemy capable of inflicting critical hits, blizzards, spellcasters that use the defense spell, as well as defeat for one-shots, giants, stronger variants of the Cyclops, still capable of inflicting critical hits, gold bat boons, they have multiple breaths and are capable of casting Fire Bane, and worst of all, Sacrifice, which is capable of wiping the whole party. They only use this spell while low on health, but doesn't have much in the way of counterplay. And finally, Bullwongs, strong double attackers, also capable of fire breathing and casting Exploded, very strong magic damage. I travel northward, finding a monolith that acts as a save point, that also fully heals the party. I decide to do a risky move and travel towards Hargon's castle. A bit troubling due to the enemy encounters present at this plateau, but once I arrive I find Middenhall Castle, at the start of my journey even. This isn't right. So I decide to use the Charm of Rubiss, dispelling the illusion and revealing the true 1st floor. A throne is here, guarded by 2 gold bat boons. I explore this floor of the castle, entering a small room on the west, finding that there's a cell door at the center. Using the spell of Step Guard to protect my party from the magic floor, I open the cell door, then a golden door, but can't quite figure out what to do yet. So I go west, opening a chest containing nothing, then I go east, opening another chest containing nothing. This has been a mess though, so I return to the monolith, and by return I mean wipe out. I return to Hargon's castle. This time, when I go to the north center, I use the Eye of Malroth, warping to the 2nd floor. Although the 1st floor had no random encounters, the upper floors have a new random enemy, the Mace Master, a spellcasting enemy with a vast repertoire. On this floor, I go north, then east, climbing up to the 3rd floor. I then go north, south, then north in a zigzag through the room, finding stairs to the 4th floor. I then move east, south, then west, circling around the wall, going east, finding the boss Atlas, who has very high HP, defense, and a high attack that can be done twice per turn. I wasn't ready for this encounter, and sure enough, he KOs Rastaban on the 1st turn, quickly followed by a wipe. After this failure, I decide to grind for a bit. Arfo reaches level 23, learning the defeat spell, a group target spell capable of one-shotting. Plataeu then reaches level 19, learning the Exploded spell, a much stronger version of Firebane. By the point Rastaban reaches level 26, I decide to go for another trip to Hargon's castle. This time I have better luck when facing Atlas, as he focuses his attacks on Arfo, and defeat him with a sustained defense from Rastaban. Thus I advance to the 5th floor, where I go all the way west, then north, finding a set of stairs guarded by another boss, Bazuzu. This boss is not as strong or bulky as Atlas, but compensates with a varied set of spells, including Heal All, Exploded, and worst of all, Sacrifice. Fortunately, Sleep has a decent chance of working on this boss, allowing for a smooth fight, and that's what happens here. I just climb to the 6th floor, I go all the way east, finding stairs guarded by the boss Zarlox, a strong and bulky enemy that can breathe fire, a relief compared to the Exploded that he can also cast. This boss is vulnerable to surround and defense, which he can counter with increase. Fortunately, he spends this combat spamming fire breath and increase, so he is eventually defeated, allowing me access to the 7th floor. I use the spell of Step Guard for safe travel on this floor, and at its center I find the wicked wizard Hargon, who thinks really highly of himself, initiating combat with me. He doesn't have as high attack and defense as previous bosses. He does have spellcasting capabilities though, which can be stopped with Stop Spell, to which he will prefer attacking twice and using Sweet Breath. He manages to knock out Arfo, but otherwise I defeat him. However, he manages to complete his ritual of summoning, calling for Malroth. He has a strong Fire Breath, can inflict sleep with his attacks, and cast Heal All. A true battle of endurance which I'm not ready for, and promptly wipe. When I leave the monolith, Arfo swiftly reaches level 25, learning the revive spell. I then decide to make preparations, and try a couple more times, but after successive wipes, I decide to grind a bit more. Peta reaches level 21, learning the Step Guard spell. Arfo reaches level 28, learning the Sacrifice spell, and when Peta reaches level 23, she learns the Open spell, capable of opening any doors without usage of keys. Then I finish the grind when Rastaban reaches level 30. I make for Hargon's castle with much difficulty, and manage to reach the top floor. Unfortunately, I fail to defeat Malroth, twice in fact. By the third try, I have Arfo cast Increase to boost my defense, and Peta casts Surround to decrease Malroth's accuracy. Malroth casts Heal All, but does so early in the fight, and doesn't repeat for the rest of it. Peta juggles healing with defense casts to reduce Malroth's defenses while Rastaban just attacks. Arfo is knocked out, and the rest are taken to very low, but I manage to cast Heal All on both Rastaban and Peta, and with Rastaban's sustained defense, Malroth goes down. Rubiss heals my party and I sail to Midenhall. The king abdicates his throne to Rastaban and orders 3 cheers for our heroes, who saved the world of Torland. This is the end of Dragon Quest II, finished with my heroes at level 30, 28 and 23. This RPG built on top of its predecessor, with a party of multiple characters with specialized skill sets and different choices for equipment, a bigger world, and a bit higher complexity on enemy encounters, since they can now have multiple types instead of the 1v1s that comprise Dragon Quest I. Although the game still follows the Dragon Quest I philosophy of using enemy encounter quality as a form of soft walling, but features a bigger variety of hard walls. Namely, 3 different types of doors that each require a different key, and the biggest one being the ocean itself. Obtaining the ship opens the game quite a lot. This game also features many more key items to be used as a way of clearing roadblocks. Unfortunately, the late game is a bit too difficult for its sake. This game had a well-known difficult development cycle, which means there was little time to find issues in this late part. Because of this, the endgame can be very swingy, going smooth at times, while at other times wiping the party rather easily. This game does follow the previous game's 2-phase final boss battle with a more interesting boss rush type of deal, where the first 3 bosses fortunately don't respawn until the game is reset, allowing for a war of attrition against Hargon's minions. The usage of Heal All by Malroth though is very unfortunate. Resetting any damage progress on him at the wrong time can be a wipe due to spent party members. All in all though, this game does feature many improvements over its predecessor, and while the short and troubled development cycle introduced some issues, this would be an important lesson for Enix and Chunsoft, which would result in a great third entry to the series, but that is going to be a story for another time. Thank you for watching. Another adventure is over, but another will soon begin. I'll be seeing you next time.